Okay, guys, we're going to talk about the impact of boom and bust cycles. That's where we left off last time. If you'll recall, we were talking about boom and bust. We talked about boom and bust in real estate. We talk about boom and bust in oil, and actually how those two boom and bust cycles were connected over those same years. Then we talk about impact. So the bottom line behind this is that there's a ripple effect. You throw a little rock into a pond, you get a bunch of little ripples that go out. You take a big old boulder and bonk it into that pond, you get a bunch of ripples go all over the place. So the idea there is that that's what we're seeing in the economy, or when we see in Texas in terms of growth. When one industry comes to this town, big things still happen. If you could imagine the economic impact of all of the like military bases we have just closing up. If all of a sudden tomorrow every single military base closed its doors and all those people who work here move to another state, that would be insane. The economic impact would just be a gut punch to San Antonio, because all those people spending their money here in this economy really does matter to us. So for when you think about this impact, needs for education, more teachers, spending more money in the area, building resources, building new schools, that means a greater tax base, that means more people, it just increases over and over. If you have all these people moving in, well, you need for more healthcare. If all the hospitals are so crowded up that people who are investors could say, like, hey, we could make some money if we built a new hospital out there. They literally, down the road from me, just built a brand new emergency room. So if you've got an area that's developing like us here, then all of a sudden they've got the ability to build a new emergency room, a new medical clinic, all sorts of things. So need for more healthcare because you got need for more people. Transportation, if more people in the area need bigger, better roads, you might need better bridges, you might need to widen things. If you have mass transit, you got to buy more buses, you got to buy more trains, that sort of thing. There are some negatives to that, some increased urban congestion, toll roads. As a city gets bigger, you might need to hire more police officers, all kinds of things going on there to talk about these booms impacting a city. Now, or even a state, booms impacting other industries. For example, if you look at a boom in medicine, if all of a sudden they open an advanced research hospital here that is like the premier hospital in the world for treating cancer, like MD Anderson in Houston, it's one of the high top-notch ones. That industry needs computers. They need computers to do their job. Well, that means that local computer tech companies are going to be bidding to meet those needs. So those computer companies are all of a sudden going to grow, meaning, okay, we're going to need people to manage those computers at the hospital. Okay, we got to hire more IT people, meaning, let's take it back to education. More schools are going to need techie kind of people to, go meet those jobs. So those schools might hire more technologically trained people to teach classes. So that's kind of how this thing works. It's a cycle, it's ripples running into each other, and those things can feed off of each other and make things bigger. So it really is just kind of an interesting thing to see. Now, we're going to look at some other impacts in other industries. These are key industries that we're going to talk about and their impacts on Texas. So, aerospace. NASA, or the Johnson Space Center, is located here in Texas. President Johnson, he was a Texan. He gets the Johnson Space Center located here in Texas. Because of that, Texas becomes a leader in aerospace technology. It's not just that, it's also the military bases. If you think about San Antonio having 3 Air Force bases, when that happens, you've got a lot of airplane kind of stuff going on. So You have Boeing here. You have Lockheed Martin here. You have all these different airplane companies here to work on airplanes that the military has. So that's been a big thing here in Texas is the you know this whole aerospace technology. Now, when we talk about medical technology, I mentioned MD Anderson a minute ago. MD Anderson is a huge research hospital. It has been a very important area in terms of cancer research, in terms of heart related illnesses, all sorts of things going on. Well, all of these, aerospace, airplanes, medical technology, all that stuff has been a huge impact on tech. Computer technology needed at these industries, they're they have a big demand for computer technology. So why not make your computer business here? IBM, Dell, Texas Instruments, Motorola, Intel, they all have outfits here in Texas. They have them elsewhere in the world, but they also have areas here where they're producing this tech industry to meet the needs of these other industries. Even the oil and gas industry needs computers. So they meet those needs by producing computers here. All right, so now we're going to move on. We're going to talk medicine, specifically MD Anderson and other heart centers. These two doctors, Michael DeBakey and Denton Cooley, they are some of the cutting edge guys that actually caused a bit of a boom cycle in medicine in Houston just by being here and being super innovative. If you look at DeBakey, he invented this roller pump that literally makes heart surgery possible. Before that invention, if you have an injury to your heart that's significant enough, it's a death sentence. After they invent that pump where they can pump your blood while working on your heart, suddenly heart surgery is a thing. So that's a huge thing for him to invent that. He's the first surgeon to implant a partial mechanical heart, first to do a coronary artery bypass. Now, there is an impact from that. Houston becomes a leading location for medical advancement, leads to further growth. Denton Cooley, actually, that's this guy down here, actually comes and works with Michael DeBakey. They're both premier heart surgeons, and they work with each other. Now, it's interesting because this guy and this guy working together, eventually they'll have a big feud. It's kind of an interesting history behind it. He leaves to go start his own heart institute. And when he does that, that kind of makes this guy a little bit mad, but hey, he wants to go do his own thing. This first to use an artificial heart to replace a human heart, yeah, it was DeBakey's heart. Not like his actually didn't crack his own chest open. No, it was DeBakey's heart that was invented by the two of them at DeBakey's clinic. So technically, maybe property of DeBakey, maybe property of Denton Cooley. I don't know, but it started this big feud for a while. So it was really interesting. But these guys were like cutting edge founding people. And so people who are also in the industry, also doctors, what do they want to do? Well, they want to be near these guys. They want to learn from these guys. They want to go to their schools. So if medical students are coming to their heart hospitals to study under them, they're going to need an apartment. They're going to need job. They're going to need, a place to live. They're going to put money into our economy, and there goes that ripple effect of a boom cycle. Okay, so that's the idea, is that even leaders in science and technology can change things like that. All right, so we go to next, Benji Brooks. She's the first woman to become a pediatric surgeon in Texas. She's conducting research. People are following along with her in, just huge advancements in pediatric medicine. So these people are gathering up other people who want to go learn from them. Michael Dell, Dell Computers, please. American entrepreneur. He's a businessman, CEO. He starts one of the largest computer companies in the world. And it's, caused Texas to be a center for technology. All these tech jobs moving in to work for, with, or around Dell. So that's where we can see a huge influx of money into the economy. All right, so conclusions. The technologies and innovations brought prosperity, globalization, and economic diversity. Prosperity, growth, money, increase in standard of living. People now have better lives. Globalization just means that suddenly Texas is trading with the world. We're meeting needs of markets in the world. So suddenly Texas is playing on a global stage. Thirdly is economic diversity. Remember that oil bust and boom when all those people left the state because it was the leading industry. Now it's computers, it's oil, it's cattle, it's cotton, it's all these different economic engines that are pushing the economy forward. It's not just one where if it goes bust, everybody's out of work. So it's a much stronger economy now because of economic diversity. All right, guys, I hope that helps you out and you understand. I'd make sure you pay attention to this page for questions. So see you later.